Popular low-cal foods sabotaging your diet. The guy's point of view on the art of fighting. How to turn your unwanted gifts into cash. Welcome to Life Love Shopping. I'm Andrea Jackson.
And I'm Michelle Yarn, and we're also talking about this new treatment doctors are using to help kids cope with food allergies. It's really interesting.
Food allergies with food.
Yeah.
And pet safety tips from a pro. Do you do kennel or do you do seatbelt before you take your dog on the road? We'll get you the best advice. The Guinness Book of World Records just released its list of top records for 2012. Check out a couple of these standouts. As for the world's tallest dog, well, check this out. Owner Kevin Dorlack stands toe-to-paw with his dog, Zeus. The Great Dane is now officially the world's tallest canine, according to the record books. Standing on his hind legs, Zeus measures 7 feet 4 inches. Give Shaq a run for his money. The world's smallest man and woman have met for the first time. Chandra Bahadur Danji, the world's shortest man, and Jyoti Amji, the world's shortest woman, met for the first time to celebrate Guinness for making them very famous. And Felix Baumgartner and his 24-mile free fall was one for the record books. The Austrian's parachute jump from the edge of space also logged a record number of live streaming views, with over 8 million people tuning in to watch his death-defying feat.
Well, I hate to break it to you ladies, but we may never know if the ideal man actually exists, but it's our fault because as we age, our idea of the perfect man also changes. Check this out. Women aged 18 to 24 are suckers for a six-pack, and they want their partner to get along with their friends. They're more likely to date a man in better physical shape, but they do want them to share tastes with them in books, music, and film. Now, women who are 25 to 34 tend to value career-driven men. Most women are focused on their careers, but physical attraction and sexual compatibility are a priority. A man's level of ambition is also important. Now, women aged 35 to 44 are happy to date an older man 5 to 10 years older, and older men become more attractive to women as they age. And once we hit 45, we want to date younger, but the key word at this age is security. Women at this age look for a man with a high income. And then women aged 55 and older still value sexual compatibility, and they're the pickiest daters.
Really?
Yeah, maybe that's because they finally know exactly what they're looking for.
Here's the thing.
No compromise.
I've been picky all my life, and I'm afraid if I get to that point, boy, look out.
It's all over.
At this point, a pulse would be good. I'm just saying. Okay, what do you do when you forget to get someone a gift? Why not give them something from around the house? Well, here are the rules when it comes to gift giving from your home stash. Do personalize it. It should be all about the recipient. If they go to thrift stores and yard sales and love vintage items, a cool old vase might make the perfect gift. Don't be afraid to give used gifts. Certain types of gifts are better used, like books. Maybe you've got a favorite you would love to share with someone. Other options include classic toys and collectibles, but don't give a gift that requires maintenance. Your old smartphone requires a plan and a monthly bill. Be wary of giving used toys and baby items too, just in case they're on a recall list, and avoid giving anything too worn. Have you ever given a used gift or maybe re-gifted?
I haven't. I gotta say, that's tricky. It feels a little cheap to me. I mean, I get the sentiment behind it, and don't do clothes as an actual gift. Just say, come over, I got some stuff I'm donating, maybe.
If you do re-gift, be honest about the re-gifting, so you're not caught in it.
You're not fooling anybody.
Exactly.
Come on. Now, what if you're one of the 49 million Americans stuck with a gift you don't love? Well, here are some great ways to re-gift. Why not just donate it to charity? The Salvation Army will give you a donation receipt, and then you can use that as a tax write-off. And aside from the tax benefits, the money made will be used for a good cause. Now, what about the big ticket items like furniture? You can always try a consignment shop. Consignment shops agree to sell your goods in exchange for a percentage of the sale. It's usually around 10 to 20%. So you get to unload an unwanted item and you both make some money. And as for gifts you can't donate, like gift cards for instance, you can sell your card for cash or you can trade it for another gift card. Some popular ones include cardcash.com and giftcards.com. Now, time to swipe out those reindeer antlers on your car with a new accessory, car lashes. You heard me right, they're exactly what you think. Eyelashes for your car. Couture fashion may dominate the runways of Paris and New York, but highways across the world are now home to the latest in auto fashion. Those eyelashes are so cool. You can also get a set with crystal eyeliner as well. And guys, just so you don't feel left out, there's also the car stash. You can attach to your car's hood. Take your car from meh to mustachioed with the magnetic mustache. It's perfect for any guy who is still reeling from his Movember experience.
Many people travel with their pets during the holidays, and 33% of drivers admit to being distracted by their dogs. That's why Chevrolet and the SPCA of Central Florida are teaming up. Here to give us some pet safety tips when we're traveling is Diane Anderson, animal behaviorist for the SPCA of Central Florida. Welcome, Diane.
Thanks for having me.
I have to admit, I have a large dog. I have a Weimaraner, Mr. Blue, and I put him in the back because I've had a couple experiences where he gets very distracting and he crawls over the seats, and that's bad.
Yes, definitely.
So I know a lot of people are wondering when it comes to pet safety in the car, is it a seat belt, is it a harness, is it a crate? What do you recommend?
Well, basically there's a few different options and we can go over them. We'll start, this is a pet safety seat basically. It's better for your smaller breed dogs, like Einstein here who's helping us model today. Basically has straps that secure around the seat, and then you harness your dog in like this, so if you were to get in an accident, they're not going to go flying towards the windshield, and also they won't be able to climb shotgun and distract you while you drive.
Yes, somehow they always like to navigate too, get right up there on the gear shift.
They think they know better.
Yeah, of course they do. And I think a lot of people dismiss the whole idea of getting in a car accident and having a pet not secured in the car.
Yes.
As we move around the back here into the trunk, we talked about the kennel, we also talked about harnessing. What's the difference between the two?
Well, it's basically personal preference. You got your kennel here. Some people don't like the kennel because they think it just too much like a cage. Really, as long as you put a blanket in there and water, toys, the dog's fine. It's like a little den for them. They are denning animals.
Should we secure that in the back so that it doesn't move around?
You can, but you don't necessarily have to because they are pretty secure on their own. And it's great to have a water bowl, and when I talk about water, home water is really important because dogs have really sensitive tummies, and sometimes when you travel, and different water can actually upset their stomachs.
Really?
And then you're going to have a mess to clean up in your
That
car.
is a great tip. I would have never thought about that. Okay. So we've got the kennel, and what about the harness, the seat belt? He's getting himself made
He's
comfortable
making the
here.
bed.
Yeah.
The harness is fine. It's good for, I like the harness, the seatbelt for bigger dogs. That way they can kind of sit up and it's not, you don't have to have such a big kennel. I mean, this Chevy Traverse has a really nice wide opening, so you could get quite a large kennel in here.
Yes.
But you might not have, you know, that capability. We've also been able to fit the nice bed in here for them. Also, I want to mention the rear AC is also really important because dogs, no matter the climate, they are wearing a fur coat and they do get quite hot in the car.
Okay, so it's important to keep the ventilation, keep them comfortable while they're in the car, and prepping the Chevy Traverse as you've done with the pet bed and the kennel and water. What other tips do you recommend in getting the pet ready for travel?
I would recommend proper ID. You want to make sure your dog is always wearing their ID tags and up to date on all their shots and vet appointments, everything done, and you want to carry that with you. In case you're maybe checking into a hotel, sometimes they require that you have rabies vaccinations, things like that. You can also microchip your pet, which is a really cool thing. So if your pet does lose its ID tags, they can actually still be located by scanning the microchip that's inserted into their back of their neck.
That's very important because I think a lot of people don't think about when they stay at a pet-friendly hotel that it's possible they could actually slip out at some point in the night. Thank you so much, Diane. Very good information here. For more information on traveling with your pet, all you need to do is head to our website. Michelle?
Great advice. Einstein's ready to roll. Thanks, Andrea. Well, coming up next, find out why your favorite diet foods might actually be adding to your waistline. Plus, we're talking about fighting food allergies with food. We've got one doctor's new approach coming up next. And happy Boxing Day to you. Throughout the show, we are sharing some fun facts about December 26th.
Welcome back to Life Love Shopping. We all want to look our best, and wrinkles can definitely throw a wrench in your plans. So here are some wrinkle erasing ingredients that actually work from Galtime.com. Retinol. In short, retinol stimulates collagen production, it increases cell rejuvenation, and even helps reduce pore size. You end up with softer, smoother skin. Just use it sparingly at first because retinol can cause some irritation. Vitamin C ester helps prevent collagen breakdown, combat wrinkles, and brighten your complexion. Make sure your product's specifically list vitamin C ester in the ingredients. This version is fat soluble and stimulates the most antioxidant activity. And peptides, without getting too sciencey, peptides are chains of amino acids that signal the skin to produce more collagen. Experts say copper peptides are the most effective in the peptide family. And finally, sunscreen. UV rays are known for causing premature wrinkles, brown spots, and sagging. Choose a broad spectrum sunscreen with a minimum SPF of 30.
Are your favorite diet foods actually causing you to keep those extra pounds without you even realizing it? Here to shed some light on food sensitivities and weight gain is Dr. Jennifer Landa. Hey.
Hi.
Now, this is interesting to me because basically what you're saying is we think we're eating healthily, but it could be something we have a sensitivity to, not an allergy. But
Right.
how does that keep the weight on us? Like, what's the connection here?
Well, what happens is the foods that we're sensitive to cause inflammation in the gut. And that can cause something called leaky gut. So then we don't absorb. Yeah, then we
Leaky
don't.
gut.
I know it sounds kind of gross,
Yeah.
but that causes us not to absorb certain nutrients well, and it causes inflammation. And inflammation packs the pounds on.
Ah, and that can be a problem too because when you're on a diet, you know, you tend to find the food that fits within that diet and then just keep eating that because you don't want to, stretch out and eat the wrong thing.
Exactly, and you know
Okay.
what? That's absolutely the worst thing that you
Oh,
can do
good.
because that increases the likelihood that you'll be sensitive to a food if you're eating it over and over.
Oh my goodness. So what do we do? I know there's something called the elimination diet, and I had to do this with my son because he was allergic to dairy. I ended up finding out. But what
Yes.
do you do? What's the process here?
So the elimination diet, it's important to eliminate the foods that are the most likely to be sensitive.
Which are?
So gluten,
Okay.
dairy, eggs, corn, soy, peanut, and sugars.
It's a lot.
It is a lot, and it sounds really overwhelming, but
Yeah.
honestly, it's not as hard as it sounds. If you eat whole unprocessed
Right.
foods, you avoid processed foods, because processed foods is where all of these different things lurk. But then you also have to avoid some staples that people think are healthy for them,
Yeah.
like whole grain toast in the
Okay.
morning and a yogurt. That's what so many of my patients come in and tell me, I can't lose any weight, I'm
Yeah.
eating toast and yogurt, and they think they're doing all these things that are healthy for them. I'm eating a soy shake.
Oh my gosh, you've got soy, dairy, and gluten right there
Right
in
there,
one meal.
exactly,
Okay.
right there in one meal. And then I'm having some fruit with it, and so I've got lots of sugar too. And so they don't know that's why they may be keeping the pounds on, because more than likely they're sensitive to one of those foods and it's causing that inflammation.
So elimination diet, cut everything out
That means cut all those foods out.
and try one at a time, right? Okay.
My good friend J.J. Virgin's just written a book called The Virgin Diet, and
Okay.
it's all about these foods, cutting out these foods. And that's one of the places that I learned about this from. And it's amazing. When you cut out these foods, people usually drop 7 to 10 pounds within a week or two,
Yeah.
believe it or not. And then what you need to do is you need to systematically add the foods back.
Okay.
So you add the foods back just one at a time, like 1 week.
And you'll
to-
see a
dedicated,
reaction
and
and
you'll
you'll
see a
know.
reaction. And the
Okay.
reactions are different than you might think. Weight is one of them, but it can be energy levels, it can be skin rashes, it can be sinus congestion, or aches and pains.
There's a lot to keep in mind, and I know you say probiotics are good too because they'll help the gut.
Probiotics are excellent to help
Good.
counter that inflammation.
Got it. Thank you so much, Dr. Landa. If you want to find out more information about food sensitivities, head to lifeloveshopping.com right now.
Food allergies are a dangerous reality for many families. Modern Family star Julie Bowen recently opened up about her son's severe allergic reactions, but now some experts say food allergies could someday be cured. It's estimated 1 out of every 8 children in this country has a food allergy. That's up nearly 20% since the late 1990s. Right now, there is no cure. The only way to protect them is to help them avoid those foods that make them sick. But doctors are trying a new approach to fighting food allergies by having children consume the very foods they are allergic to. It's a treatment called immunotherapy. First, patients are tested to pinpoint the exact nature of their allergy. Then they're given small doses of the food allergen in powdered form every day. Early results show the strategy is working, but with a huge side of caution. Dr. David Fleischer, food allergy expert, offers this advice.
We're dealing with food allergens that can be very dangerous. This is not something that can be done at home. Their overall goal is to see if they can actually outgrow their allergies, meaning they can actually develop tolerance over time.
Doctors say they need to continue the study, but they are optimistic. In the past year, researchers have found positive results for both egg and peanut allergies. And just a reminder, the tests should not be tried without guidance from a medical expert. And a lot of people are thinking that a number of these food allergies is because we restrict kids from so much food, so we're not building up their immune system like we would normally have done in years past.
They do, and they actually give you that advice. They're like, don't hold off too long, because like I'm starting solids with my son. They're like, don't hold off too long, because then you kind of create this, your body's not used to it, and then all of a sudden you shock the system with all the processed foods as well that we talked about.
So hopefully that will work.
Yeah, hopefully. And you know, it's hard enough dealing with your own allergies, but when you do have to worry about your child, that factor just skyrockets. So we have some advice from Galtime.com for dealing with your child's food allergies during a common scenario, the classroom or birthday party. First of all, talk to your kids ahead of time. Explain to them that they do have to be extra careful about what they eat when they're at someone else's home or at school. I like this tip. Always bring a hearty side dish or two of something you and your family can eat, because then you avoid any unnecessary risks and it ensures that you have something yummy to munch on. And don't be shy. It's okay to let friends and family members know that you or your child has a food allergy, especially if you won't be there with your child. It might be a little uncomfortable at first, but I'm telling you, it's a lot better than a potential reaction. And it is okay to phone ahead and find out what's being served, so then you can be prepared, or you can volunteer to make a complimentary dish. Or you could just host the party yourself. This way you know exactly what is being served to who.
And you're dealing with food allergies with your son, so you've cut a number of things out of your diet.
It's rough, and we did find out, like Dr. Landa mentioned, doing that elimination diet, we found out it was dairy. So it is hard. And one of my tips when I go to a party, I'm just like, oh, this looks good. How did you make this? And they tell you without you feeling like you're being, picky or annoying about
exactly.
it. So
I can't eat that. I'm allergic.
yeah, it's a little good way to be sneaky.
Still more to come here on Life Love Shopping. What's the best and worst thing you can say during a fight?
We are getting the guys' point of view on the art of fighting coming up next. Welcome back to Life Love Shopping. Does this remind you of you and your significant other?
So now it's my fault that you don't feel satisfied.
Everything is my fault? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying that.
You don't look at me. You don't ever ask me how I am.
You haven't looked at me in 10 years.
I'm crazy, and everything is my fault, and my family is awful, and nothing at all is your fault. Because you rock, Joey.
If a guy talked to me like that, I'd punch him in the face.
Oh!
Well, it happens to the best of us. Did you know that the average couple argues more than 300 times a year? Sometimes it's about big things, but most of the time it's about the small stuff like what to have for dinner or what movie to see.
So to chat about it, we brought in the guys from the Daily Buzz. They're going to give us the best and worst things to say or do during a fight. Lance Smith and Charles Divins. How are you guys?
Good. Thanks for having us.
So we got to know. Let's start with the worst thing. What is the worst thing you can do during a fight?
I call my wife. I've said them all.
She's got a running list going.
Yes, she does. I've earned it. Yeah, bringing up the past, I think.
That's
you're going to have arguments, and anytime you bring up something you didn't get over in the past, it's, oh, you've been holding this in the whole time. It's that kind of. Anytime
But it's so hard not to do that, especially if they give you a perfect example of what they did wrong.
No, it's not good. We're trying to help you.
We remember everything.
I know, yes.
We can remember things that happened 10 years ago. But I think it comes to a point, so sometimes in arguments, is it better to be right or is it better to be happy? So you kind of have to figure out how to
There's a nice median to
that.
Yeah.
You got to be right and happy.
I
Happy
was
to be right.
always a
Happy to
right
be right?
fighter. That was my
You
problem.
were a right fighter.
I was a right fighter. In the
Okay.
beginning of my relationship, it was about winning the fight. At all cost almost. And that was a problem. And as you get older, especially in the relationship, it's just about being happy.
And did you find that you had certain buttons you knew you could push to get things going?
Yes. Actually, I wasn't a button pusher as much as she was. That's just a
Okay.
personality thing. I'm just calling my wife out right now. Terry, you push my buttons.
Obviously, it worked out, though. I mean, you guys are married now.
How do you pick and choose the battles? Because oftentimes, you got to overlook a lot, but sometimes things get under your skin and you can't help but for a blow up to happen.
I'm a lover, not a fighter. So he's the expert here, so go ahead, man.
But that
I'm
can
married.
be
What?
as
How do you
bad
do
though.
that?
That can be just as bad though to walk away every time too. So
It could be,
keep that in
but-
mind.
You know, I've done that. I've done the I'm not going to argue, I'm not going to deal, and just concede right away, and that's bad because then you're not putting forth the effort to have the discussion.
Yeah.
Then you don't care enough to even deal with it. But it's just it's all in the middle. You got to deal with it. You have to do it. You just have to do it calmly and lovingly.
Dude, I'm telling you, my husband will not let anything go. He will keep talking to you until it is resolved, which is super annoying at the time, but then
Yeah.
at least everything's resolved in the end, right?
See, I've done that too. I've
Yeah.
done the chase.
What happened?
Done it all.
Yeah, and it's we don't in the beginning of my relationship we fought more then. We hardly ever fight now.
Do you set
It's
up
not worth
rules
it.
about don't go to bed angry?
Yeah,
do
I
you
mean-
find that helps to kind of
We do.
like, map out a
Yeah.
plan?
Yeah.
Setting them and following them though.
We don't go to bed angry. We don't walk away from each other. Like
That's
leave,
good.
slam the door.
Yeah.
Even though we've both played that card,
Yeah.
then you have to open the door back up.
I'm
Like I
sorry.
know. I'm sorry. I played the card. Yeah. All right. Look at you, single guy.
I don't know. You fight, you make up, it's all good.
The makeup sex, come on.
Sometimes
That's
that can be
fun,
good,
right?
right?
That's what it's all
No,
about.
but let's say you're right in the middle of a fight. I mean, how do you know the best way to resolve it before it gets out of hand?
Yeah.
I mean, usually you've got to be able to see yourself from the outside, I think. You've got to be able to sort of look at the argument objectively, see what you're saying, see how
Yeah.
you're saying it, and then realize this isn't you, this isn't your relationship, it's not representative of your love, and calm down.
Sometimes that's hard to do in the heat of the
Breathe.
moment.
The more practice, the better, I
Yeah,
guess.
Yeah,
guys,
it is.
thank
Seriously.
you. Check out Lance and Charles on the Daily Buzz weekday mornings.
And we have to tell you, tomorrow we have got something good in store. You want to talk about Magic Mike? We are talking to the guys from the Rock Hard Review, and they'll tell you what it takes to get to that point, too.
Ladies, do not miss that. That does it for Life Love Shopping. Be good. We'll see you
Bye-bye.
tomorrow.